Greetings, Kyle Abbott, Big K to some, Eduardo to others. I had quite the shocker in the springtime of 2020. Cancer in my junk. Fortunately, caught early and very treatable, but still serious enough to be a wake-up call and rethink my life pursuits. Curiously, my interest in playing shamisen had decreased, but the passion for building shamisen grew stronger than ever. So in that moment, I decided my shamisen journey would be focused on building, and I immediately secured a large amount of quality wood to create my own line of shamisen. But of course, once I was back to normal, life became balanced and the joy of playing shamisen returned. And I quickly realized I had way more wood than I could use in a lifetime. So rather than let it all just collect dust in the shed, I realized this wood could be fantastic for aspiring shamisen makers. And so I cut and rough shaped all the lumber into individual shamisen parts. Many dulled saw blades later, we are here. Each set includes everything you need to build a super high-end Nobezao shamisen. To be clear, this isn't a some assembly required style of DIY kit. The wood is quality curated and rough shaped, and it's up to you to bring the tools and experience to turn it into a shamisen. How much experience do you need? Truly very little to turn it into a playable shamisen, but the more experience you have, the better the end result will be. In the kit, we have a blank Tenjin, Sao, Nakago, and 4 dough boards, all sealed with shellac. Also included are a set of elite Itomaki, final sanding and polishing required, all of the gold fittings used for its standard Tsugaru Shamisen, and a copy of my book, Shamisen of Japan. Also included is free Hibiki Skinning by moi. After completing your shamisen, send in your dough and I'll attach the skins. Let's take a look at the individual parts, starting with the dough boards. The wood is granadillo, which is very hard, looks fantastic with an urushi finish, and will give your shamisen a solid tone. The boards already have the angle joint cuts, which I believe is the hardest cut for a beginning maker without a table saw. Note the angled surfaces need minor adjustments by flat sanding to achieve a flush fit, and I've left a bit of margin on each board to accommodate the required sanding. Next, the Sao and Tenjin. I've already pre-cut the rough shapes as the large amount of wood removal is a real hassle for new makers if they don't have access to a bandsaw. Each Tenjin has a general curve with plenty of margin so you can shape the pieces exactly how you want them. The Nakago and Sao also have some extra length for safety margin as well. We also have add-ons. To enhance your shamisen's tonal clarity, I've prepared 2 kinds of hardwood fingerboards, as well as the Eclipse-style decorative extension, which is a strip of wood glued to the Tenjin before shaping. When the Sao and Tenjin are put together, the extension makes the fingerboard look like it's flowing into the Tenjin, a super cool visual feature. The 2 kinds of fingerboards and extensions available are Pua Rosa and Laotian Birdseye Rosewood. Fantastic stuff. I'd highly recommend adding one of these fingerboards to your kit. The hardness of the Sao is similar to cutting, and just like with the Eclipse or Akatsuki, a hard fingerboard balances the tone for a perfect match of warmth and clarity. Now, let's look at the 3 wood kits available: Bubinga, Sapele, and Red Gum. Starting with this amazing Bubinga. This has a Janka hardness of about 2000. And is comparable to high-quality cutting. However, unlike cutting, which is often very plain, this Bubinga is incredibly figured with waves of dark striping. And when this wood is rounded and shaped to the curvy goodness of the Tenjin and Sao, it's going to bring out all of the beauty out on full display. This wood could be used without a fingerboard, but I'd still recommend it, not only for the most tonal clarity, but the 2-tone combination would look stunning. Next, we have Sapele, with the waterfall Pomelle figure on the Sao and ribbon figure on the Tenjin. I've made a few shamisen with this wood before and find it not only stunningly gorgeous when curved and shiny, but also very easy to work with. The Janka hardness is about 1500, which is similar to hard maple wood. It feels substantial, and being a bit softer, it's quite easy to shape while still taking a brilliant polish. With that being said, I'd highly recommend a fingerboard for both tonal clarity and because Rosa or Laotian Rosewood is more resistant to wear than Sapele. Lastly, we have figured Australian red gum with a red gum burl Tenjin. There's only one kit available. There used to be two, but I couldn't resist using one. Now, I recommend this set for those with plenty of woodworking experience. The reason being, burl is very difficult to work with. Unlike regular wood, which can be cleanly shaved with a sharp chisel, burl tends to come off in clumps. You have to work very carefully in order to achieve the precise shape and angles you want without accidentally prying off a chunk. When I shaped the burl Tenjin, it only worked like regular wood when filing, sawing, or sanding. The moment I pressed a sharp chisel to it, the grain crushed rather than sliced. That meant shaping had to be done with files. No real problem, but it was just long and tedious. I'm super happy with the end result and glad I made one, but I wouldn't make another. Now, don't let that dissuade you. If you have the skill, the end result is worth the trouble. Just know your tools, how the burl responds to them, and most importantly, keep superglue on hand. Even though the burl is technically stabilized, I still needed to fill in some gaps while shaping. Let's take a quick peek at the Elite Itomaki sets. As you can see, a majority of the work is already complete on these. The star shape is straight but rough cut, so you just need to sand the surfaces smooth and polish them. The pegs are already partially rounded as well, so you just need to do light filing or sanding to fit them in the Tenjin. The Bubinga kit includes a set of figured Bubinga Itomaki. The Sapele kit includes Aphelia Exlay Itomaki with African Blackwood caps. Lastly, the single red gum kit includes Amboina Burl Itomaki. Note the burl has some light chipping on the edges which occur during the rough cutting. Fortunately, all of my Itomaki handles have extra margin, and so all of the chips should be gone after sanding. Still, be sure to have superglue ready, in case it's easier to fill in some tiny gaps with glue and burl dust. Lastly, every kit includes a full set of gold-plated hardware: Azuma Sawari, Rindo, Zagane, and Kamigoma. With this hardware installed, you have everything you need to make your shamisen look like a 100% made in Japan banger. And with that, you have all the materials you need to build a shamisen. Note, external accessories like neo, koma, bachi, dokake, and strings aren't included. There's instructions in my included book for making them though, except the strings. So I would recommend this kit for those who already have a shamisen to play. If you build this kit intending to have your first playable shamisen, the two main problems are: one, it's tempting to rush the process and skip important steps for the sake of being able to start playing sooner. And two, I can't stress enough how helpful it is to have a finished shamisen in your hands as a physical reference. You can learn a lot from pictures, but having the real thing in front of your face gives you a much more accurate sense of the finer details. This picture is a great example. At the time, I was 17, building my second shamisen, and decided to make it with the ayasungi pattern on the dough. The thing is, I had only seen ayasungi in pictures, and that pattern made something of an optical illusion, and in it, I saw three-dimensional mountains and valleys. With no other reference to go by, I carved out those triangles, those mountains and valleys, in every single dough board. And the week of completing it all, I met Nitta-san for the first time, and he showed me the real ayasungi in his shamisen. Needless to say, many a brick was shat. Again, this is quality, curated, rough-shaped wood. I shaped no more than the basic curves on the saw and tenjin, because these kits are for those wanting the full experience of building shamisen. And shaping the parts, that's the most enjoyable step. Now, skinning is its own journey, which requires many hours to construct special tools and many more hours to build experience of stretching skin through trial and error. That's not as straightforward as shaping wood, which is why when you finish your shamisen build, my congratulatory present will be handling the skinning for you, free of charge. For me, Building shamisen is deeply meditative, relaxing, and immensely satisfying. With this amazing wood, you can either start or continue your shamisen building journey and end up with a gorgeous work of art. Kyle Abbott.